What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Lex Selectors. Today it is my championship review for match day 33. We have covered a lot this weekend. Some shocking results. It's resulting in some managers leaving their jobs as well. We have got a lot of news to go over. We've got some postponed games as well. And we've got some score predictions to go over in the second part of this video. It's fair to say we have got a lot to go through. If you guys want to know the updated standings for Prediction League, do make sure you check out my latest community tab, as I have corrected and have posted the correct up-to-date standings so far. So if you guys like what we see and you want to see more of this championship content, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help. It really does help the growth of this channel. Let's aim for 15 likes. It'll be incredible if we can get there. And please also hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. It really helps. We're very, very nearly there at 1,000 subscribers, believe it or not. I can't believe it, but you guys keep proving me wrong. Thank you guys so much for the support recently, and please share this channel to as many people as you can. All of that really, really helps the growth of this channel. But without any further ado, guys, let's start talking through what happened in this weekend's games. What a way to start, where we talk about the league leaders losing a rare game. They lose 2-1 to Huddersfield Town. Fulham were going through a really good unbeaten run in the championship, and they looked a little bit untouchable. But this game shows that Fulham, on their day, they still could lose pretty comprehensively. It's the second time they've lost 2-1 in home. Obviously, the first time was against Reading, and this time against Huddersfield. I felt Huddersfield, to be fair to them, actually played a lot better than what Reading did when they beat them by 2-1. I know they didn't have a lot of a ball, but when Huddersfield had their chances, they took them. Danny Ward scored the first goal, and it was a defensive mistake by Tom Kearney. But Danny Ward wouldn't care. He's been on absolute fire for Huddersfield this season. I might do a video soon where I do a video of every single player in the championship proving me wrong. And I think Danny Ward is definitely going to be one of those players. He's definitely reignited his career playing or returning at least to Huddersfield Town like this. That made it 1-0. The second goal was the controversial point. Was it a penalty on Rodak on Sorba Thomas? I think the motion, the contact wasn't that strong, but the fact that Sorba Thomas got the ball first, he took advantage of the situation and went down easily. I definitely think Rodak didn't really go into heavily on him, but once again, the whole situation could have been avoided if defenders had not made any poor touches and were actually just better. Kearney and Adebayo both could have cleared the ball for what they've received to stop these two chances, resulting in these 2 goals for Huddersfield. So defensively, just not good enough for Fulham. They did get 1 goal back, and I think Neco Williams is a real promising player. But it was a good goal by Bobby Reid in the end. They still find themselves first place. With Huddersfield, they're still unbeaten for over 14 games and are 5th place. I know Huddersfield got some tough games coming up very, very soon, but if they keep proving these people wrong, they could be a shoo-in for top 6. I'm not even lying. I said they would just narrowly miss out my outdated predictions in 8th. I might have to reconsider their position. Another shock result, as we see Middlesbrough, a team who are on absolute fire, the most informed team in the championship, lose to Bristol City by 2-1. You think of Bristol City being a very peculiar, strange team. On their day, Bristol City can beat anyone, especially with the goals that we were seeing as well. And I've got to say, Andre Weimann and Antoine Semenyo are performing out of their skin right now, especially Semenyo. His build-up to get the first goal for Weimann was absolutely exquisite. Unbelievable job. Could maybe was a foul on Tavernier in the build-up to that goal, but I'm not going to discredit, Bristol City for getting that goal. It was a brilliant goal. And for the second goal, I cannot even lie, I saw it first time and I was like, wow. I couldn't believe just the fluid build-up between Martin, Weimann and then Semenyo to finish it off. It was a perfectly fluid goal. And what was the difference here is that Bristol City had 6 shots with Middlesbrough's 21. So it was clear that Middlesbrough were creating more, and they probably were slightly the better side on the ball and had way more possession. But Bristol City took their chances. Middlesbrough with 10 shots on target, only scored 1 goal, and that was from a Matt Quick's header. But I don't think he's going to be available for Middlesbrough's next game, because I think he will be serving his suspension now for picking up too many yellow cards. So it's like a punch blow for Middlesbrough in that sense. But Bristol City Well done for them for taking their chances, and it goes to show that those attacking players can be the difference. Next game is Cardiff 1, Blackpool 1. I got to give a big shout out to Cody Drameh. I think that was his best performance in a Cardiff shirt so far, and he definitely was the catalyst of creating most of Cardiff's opportunities. I really liked what he did down the wing. But it was actually Blackpool that took the lead. It was a keeper with a headed goal. I do think since scoring, I think Blackpool did kind of retreat a bit, and I think Cardiff were the better team, and it was Joel Bagan who scored a recent goal recently for Cardiff, scores another one here. And this one was actually a nice one. It wasn't like a tap-in. It was a brilliant square pass by Drameh and a brilliant strike by Bagan to make it 1-1. What I will say, it was a really good game because it was a bit back and forth. Cardiff had a really good spell for a good 60% of it. And I think Blackpool at the start and the end of the game, I think, were better. So I think it was a 60-40 split. So I think these two teams were really, really close. And that is all you can want in a game. And not to have it as a 0-0 draw, of course. So both of these teams had really good pass. Both teams have got bits to work on. But overall, I think both of these teams are, doing quite well in a mid-table position. Obviously, they'll just need to try and improve their positions for next season. We have absolute limbs at the Ricoh Arena as Coventry beat Barnsley by 1-0 due to a 93rd minute flick on by Dominic Hyam. It was looking like it was going to be one of those games that just nothing was going to go for Barnsley. A bit similar for Fulham against Huddersfield, that they would have all these chances and they just wouldn't take them. They had 7 shots on goal and 19 shots to Barnsley 6. And they had 7 shots on target to Barnsley 0. So I'm definitely going to discredit Barnsley for how little they looked threatening going forward. I do think Asbaghi is going to be treading on thin ice if he can't pick up any more points anytime soon. They've got a game against Hull, which I think Barnsley could have a chance with. But if they don't get anything out of that, I think Asbaghi could be on his way out based on for the fact we've had 2 managers leave their jobs in the last couple of days or so. But it was Hyam that got the goal. Gael Crez was missing chances. Waghorn was missing chances. O'Hare missed a really good chance too. But it was Hyam, the unlikely goal scorer. Looked like that the ball was partially cleared, but Barnsley just couldn't clear it properly. And Hyam flicks the ball past Collins to make it 1-0. Good win for Coventry. They're still in 10th place. I still think they will finish just below the top 6 race. I think they want a top half finish. And as it stands, I think if they carry on these results, I think they'll do that. We had limbs in the Ricoh Arena, but we most certainly had limbs at Pride Park as Derby beat Peterborough by 1-0, 2 red cards, and a manager resigning from this game as well. This game was so important, I couldn't even pretend. It was 23rd against 22nd originally. Now they swapped places because Derby, the team in 23rd, were victorious. So it was Louis Sibley that got the goal, and I gotta say, I think Derby definitely deserved something out of it. Peterborough didn't have a shot on goal, and to be honest, they were very non-threatening, and I think that is why that it's now just dawned on them that their score's just not good enough to compete in this league. Derby had 25 shots, believe it or not. That's 5 times more shots than what Peterborough had in that game, and 5 shots on target. So I do question that they're not being quite clinical with those chances, but at least they fought to the end. Quite feisty as well. Coulson got 2 yellow cards getting into a red card. And Tom Lawrence on Nathan Thompson there, I don't know what he was doing. He lost his head pretty much. He had a really good chance in the first half, Tom Lawrence, but he lost his head in the second half. And he's got to be careful because he nearly cost Derby as well. What could have been a vital 3 points. Louis Sibley stepped up in the end after Luke Plange was within centimetres of having his goal, which was denied ultimately by the post and Steve Bender. But Sibley in the 92nd minute makes it 1-0, and the absolute scenes at full time were unbelievable. Great win for Derby. It was a shame for them that Reading won also in that weekend, so they still got a 5-point gap to fill. But if they carry on with their good home form, they can easily, I feel, overtake Reading anytime soon. With Peterborough, they've not even got a manager right now, so they're going to have to go with their assistant and hope for a managerial bounce. But if they don't get a managerial bounce soon, they are definitely going to go down. And I've called it. When you lose someone like Siriki Dembele, it's going to be difficult to replace a special player like that. So ultimately, I think Peterborough are getting what they deserve. West Brom are slipping down the table as they lose 2-0 to Luton Town. But I'm telling you this, how West Brom didn't get a goal, let alone a draw, I have no idea. Luton gifted West Brom 3 huge chances, I think 2 to Grant and I think 1 for Andy Carroll, and neither one of them took those chances. They hit the woodwork twice. Grant had one-on-one efforts, cheaply shot and easily saved in the end by Jed Steer. Mistakes, constantly between Naismith, Jed Steer, who was making his debut in goal. And honestly, Luton got away with one there. And Cameron Jerome got the first goal. It's a simple-headed goal. Just poor set-piece defending. And then Alan Campbell with one of the best goals I saw in this weekend. Just ghosting into the left-hand side. The build-up to that goal was brilliant. And his strike past the reach of Johnston to make it 2-0. I tell you what, West Brom definitely should have at least scored 1 goal, I felt. But ultimately, when you've got those amount of chances and you're not taking them, there's a real problem going round. So West Brom need to try and get rid of their monkey off the back and just try and fix their way form as soon as they can, because they're really struggling with it. Luton have now overtaken West Brom following this, and with games in hand, Luton could have a very, very small chance trying to enter a late race and push into the top 6 potentially. Next game is Preston 2, Reading 3. I was so close with this game. I said that this game would have many, many goals. And I said Reading have a great record against Preston as well. It was written in the stars for me to get this game right. But I just could not back Reading. So I said 3-2 Preston and should have swapped the numbers around and I would have got it. I got the right idea and I had literally the game and, the correct score on my fingertips. I just didn't back myself, didn't I? So, the goals came from Lucas João and Swift for Reading. The defending, for Preston's sake, was atrocious. Especially Lucas João's second. What was Patrick Bauer doing there? I have no clue. Because Patrick Bauer has been a great defender for Preston, but he's had his worst performance that I've seen of him, is at least in this game, at least. John Swift scores the third goal. Once again, Bauer being pulled out of position. And the link-up play between João and Swift is good, but it's a simple 1-2. And how can they get into that defence so easily? It's poor defensive organisation from Preston. They were 3-0 down, and fair play to Preston. They did try and get a late comeback. They scored 2 late goals with Johnston and, of course, Cameron Archer getting 1 goal each. Johnston doing very, very well with one of the goals. And it's just shown that Reading at the back are still very exposed. But Preston just really found it difficult to get into the game. Those 2 goals were Preston's only 2 shots on target. And that's unbelievable that Preston didn't even have a shot on goal apart from those 2 goals. So Preston were very poor for me. And I think what they've done now is that they've reignited Reading's confidence, which can help them. But obviously, they've now lost their manager, PAUNOVIC. Ince has taken over. And I've got to say, bizarre appointment. I don't know how I feel. I remember in Blackpool where he didn't really quite hit a lot of success. Blackburn, he was a bit of a flop, I won't lie. So his track record in the Championship doesn't really inspire me. And they're not looking at him as a long-term. It looks like it's going to be an interim job. But I don't know if he's going to be the answer. And I know Thomas is in the squad. But Thomas is not going to suddenly perform, I don't know, like Billy Sharp because his dad is now the manager. It just doesn't work like that. So bit of a bizarre appointment, but I'll be interested to see how Reading move on and if they can get a good managerial bounce with Paul Ince being in charge. Next game is QPR 1, Hull 1, and that was the game I got spot on. Now, this was interesting. I really liked Marcus Forster's goal. It didn't actually hit the net. It was one of those ones where they had to check if the ball had crossed the line. Obviously, we don't have goal line technology in the Championship, but based on the replays I saw, it did look like the ball crossed the line. So I definitely understand why the officials gave the goal to Hull. It's a bit against the run of play getting this lead, because I think QPR did well creating the chances. But ultimately, what we've been seeing from QPR is that they've not been taking them. Elias Chair has really been the one that they've had to rely on quite recently to get their goals. And they got the equaliser in. Bit of an unfortunate situation for Hull. Matt Ingram has now picked up an injury. And of course, Baxter, who's actually got the best save rate percentage in the Championship. Both of their first 2 choice goalkeepers are both injured for Hull. So now they're going to rely on a teenager, Harvey Cartwright, as their goalkeeper. Obviously, he conceded Chair's goal, and he was a bit fortunate that QPR had a goal disallowed from offside. He's going to have to try and be brave because Hull have got to face Barnsley. They are facing bottom of the league, Barnsley, but Barnsley could potentially show up. You don't know, but Hull definitely got to be a bit careful with that. And with QPR, they're going through a winless run right now. I think they're winless now in their last 4 games. So QPR got to be careful. 1 win in 6. You know, you wouldn't expect that from QPR, especially with the start of the season. So they've got to fix their form as soon as they can. Is there a chance that I can potentially change my final predictions and put Sheffield United in the top 6? I said that they wouldn't score enough goals. And what did Sheffield United do? They score 4 against Swansea. I mean, Swansea away from home, I've said it, that I just don't think they've got a structure and they don't have a good system away from home. But did I think Sheffield United scored 4 goals? I did not. Morgan Gibbs-White was returning to this game, and he clearly showed how much of an important player he is. He scored 2 of Sheffield United's goals. The link-up play that I was seeing between Norburn in that midfield and Gibbs-White was exquisite. And I tell you what, George Bulldog's volley for the second was absolutely ridiculous. The technique to even perform that is absolutely insane. And then Billy Sharp, doing what Billy Sharp does best, scoring goals in the Championship, scores Sheffield United's other goal. Swansea just weren't good enough. They only had 2 shots on target compared to Sheffield United's 6, and they only had their 6 shots to Sheffield United's 12. And I said they've been a bit guilty away from home, that they're going to their old habits of having the ball but not creating enough and being way too open at the back. Brilliant for Sheffield United. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on them now, and it's crazy the contrast you see between Sheffield United and West Brom now, especially. Final game to go over is Stoke 2, Birmingham 2. An enjoyable game, actually, and I was so close once again for getting this game right as well. Had it not been for Gary Gardner's equaliser, I would have got this game spot on. But it was very clear to me that Stoke were having a lot of the ball, they were having a lot more chances, but very similar story. They've just not been clinical enough, and when Birmingham don't have a lot of the ball and they go forward, they look very, very dangerous. Jordan James, an academy player who scored for Birmingham to make it 1-0. That was a very inspiring story to see him on the score sheet there. But then Tyrese Campbell outperformed like every Stoke player on the pitch very suddenly, scoring 2 brilliant goals. His second goal, especially the way he kind of ghosted past the defence and just kind of dragged the ball back and to find the corner past Etheridge, that was exquisite. And even the first goal, the long looping pass by Harwood Bellis to stay onside as well. Absolutely exquisite build-up play for Stoke City's point. But I tell you what, Stoke do have a bit of a weakness. Their defence has not looked as solid as they have done. Lyle Taylor was doing really, really well and was finding it very successful to pin Stoke's backline down, especially going forward on the right. Gary Gardner was the one who managed to find the pass from Lyle Taylor to make it 2-2. And I think both teams actually feel a little bit disappointed they didn't get anything more from this game, but especially Stoke, with them being the home team, and with that they've got a little bit more to play for than Birmingham. But Birmingham, for me, I think have been a team that, you know, have been quite inconsistent, a bit similar with Bristol City, that not many people take too seriously in the Championship, but you've seen it with their signings, how good Birmingham can be. They just need to fix their structure from defence to attack. I think their attack's improved, but their defence does need work. So that is my review for the 10 games that happened this weekend. Obviously, we had 2 games not taking place this weekend, which will be rescheduled at a later day. So this is what the Championship table looks like after those 10 games. Fulham and Bournemouth still stay on top. Bournemouth still in second despite not playing this weekend. Blackburn, QPR, Huddersfield, and now Sheffield United enter the top 6. The latter entering into the top 6 for the first time this season. And in terms of the teams in danger, it's still looking like it's a 4-horse race. But the bottom 3 is being reshuffled. Derby now 22nd, Peterborough 23rd, and Barnsley 24th. To end the video, guys, I'm going to now predict what I think will happen in midweek's games. Make sure you guys, predict your midweek games in the comments down below so you guys have a chance to enter into the Let's Select Us Football Prediction League. I'll start off with Bristol City versus Coventry. What I think might happen is that I think Bristol City are going to have some players recalled from injury. I know Hamer is not going to be available for Coventry due to a suspension. So I think Bristol City, for how good they've been at home, I might back them in this game. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Bristol City. Hull and Barnsley's tough. I know Hull are going to have Cartwright in goal, very young, inexperienced keeper. Barnsley themselves, though, you know, don't create a lot away from home. When they played against Coventry, they didn't have a strong goal. This could be a 0-0 draw, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think this will be a pretty close game, actually. Middlesbrough and West Brom, I mean, it's a must-win game, I think, for both teams if they definitely want to try and get into the top 6. I think, based on the team, how they play and with their performances, I might go for Middlesbrough. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Middlesbrough. Preston versus Nottingham Forest is going to be a close game. It tends to be a really close game between those two teams. I'm going to back Nottingham Forest for a 2-1 away win. They have had a longer break as well for the fact that Bournemouth didn't play their game this weekend. Reading and Birmingham, this could be a 0-0 draw. But you know what? I'm going to anticipate a very small bounce with Vince coming in. I'm going to say a 1-0 win to Reading. This one's going to be very tough to predict for the fact that Reading have got a new manager, of course. Derby Millwall. This is going to be a tight game. I'm going to say a 2-1 win to Derby. I think their home form has been absolutely brilliant this season. I think they've got the 4th best home form in the league. Fulham versus Peterborough. I mean, who knows? Fulham didn't play well, so they might go Man City style and just try and score as many goals as they can. Peterborough could even improve defensively without having Darren Ferguson in charge. Who knows? I'm going to say 3-0. That's what I'm going to say for Fulham and Peterborough. Huddersfield and Cardiff is really close as well. And you know what? I mean, Huddersfield are still riding with that confidence. I think the players that they got, Toffolo was amazing. And a lot of players really stepping up. O'Brien as well. I think they'll be the difference for this game. So I'm going to go for 2-0 Huddersfield. QPR Blackpool. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Blackpool have drawn their last 3 away games 1-1. So I'm going to make that 4 away games in a row. Sheffield United and Blackburn. The Oliver Burke derby this is. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 Sheffield United win. And Stoke and Luton. Oh, who knows? I think it'll be a draw. I'm going to go for actually a 0-0 draw. I think this game will be pretty quiet. You may be thinking, where is Swansea and Bournemouth? That game is being postponed due to weather from Storm Eunice. So we only have 11 games to predict this midweek. So that'll wrap it up, guys, for today's video. Please make sure you do leave your predictions in the comments down below. If you guys liked what you see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. It does really, really help the channel. And please share this channel to as many people as you can. All of that really helps too. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for joining in this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.